Hello everyone, we're back once again with our twice a week live session from Golf Cart Garage, where we go over some questions. We try to answer some questions from customers that we collect their questions throughout the week, every week. This is Thursday, October the 13th. This is episode 64, 64th time that we've done this. That's a lot of golf cart questions. I am Tim. I work for Golf Cart Garage. I'm also a member of the Gearheads on Demand service that we offer at Golf Cart Garage. That service is what it's about. It's where you can schedule an appointment with me, a phone call, and if you're interested in that, click the link in the description and you can talk with me one-on-one on the phone about your golf cart related issue. You can also check if you would rather do a video session. You can schedule that and I'll send a link to your phone at the time that you request, and then you click the link and then I can see through your phone and see what you're looking at. So it may help me sometimes to steer you in the right direction. All right, well, it is noon Central Time, so the garage is now open on a Thursday, and let's get started. Question number one. We may even interact with some people in the live chat. Anybody in the live chat, feel free to ask a question, comment, and I'll see if I can help you. Number one says, I feel I need an M-Core for Yamaha battery operated golf cart. 2011, speeds up, slows down, and won't go uphill. All right, well, Yamaha does not have an M-Core. All golf carts have a type of potentiometer. Okay, all the brands have some type of potentiometer. M-Core is specific to club cars. Yamaha uses their potentiometer is called a throttle position sensor. So from your description of your symptoms, that you're probably correct on where you need to go. It's just not called an M-Core. So don't try to order an M-Core for a Yamaha. Order a throttle position sensor for a Yamaha. But yeah, it sounds like that could be what your issue is from what you're describing your symptoms are. Let's see. Number two. I have an older analog charger, 48 volt club car. When I plug it in, I hear it click, but the hand on the gauge doesn't move. Is it still charging? I have new batteries and about 8 hours runtime. Well, anytime someone asks me a question and they tell me a scenario like what you're describing, one thing that I like to do is I like to figure out how could I duplicate that scenario. Well, let me just explain one way that scenario could be duplicated. You know, and what you're telling me is that you plug your charger in, and you've got the older type charger with the big heavy transformer in it, and there's a relay inside of it. And you plug your charger in, and there's a few seconds delay, and you hear a click, but the needle don't move. Well, I can tell you one way that you can duplicate that exact scenario, and that would be if your charger was not plugged into the wall, or plugged into the wall and your outlet wasn't hot. It would do the exact same thing. So let's clear that up. If I was you, I'd clear that up first. Make sure your outlet has not tripped a circuit breaker or something in wherever that circuit breaker is for that charger, because it would do the same thing if that charger had no electricity. You plugged it into your cart, there would be a slight delay, and then the relay would click, but the needle wouldn't move. So that's one thing I would check. Now, other than that, you could have a bad relay. If you find out that the outlet is hot and everything's fine and your battery voltage is high enough, I'm assuming that your battery voltage is high enough, you could have a bad relay. That's a common part that can be replaced in those type chargers. Relay is readily available for that charger. All right, number three. I have a 2013 club car. Occasionally forward does not work. Reverse always works. I had to drive it a half mile in reverse as it would not go forward. The next day, while switching between forward, neutral, and reverse, it started working. Does this sound like the switch? And if so, do you carry it and what is the price? Well, I can tell you this. It's one of two things. It's either your switch or it's your controller, because in your type electrical system, the controller, let me make sure I'm going to say that right. Yes, in your type of reverse does not work. About a half a mile the next day while switching from forward to reverse, it starts working. Okay, well, you didn't tell me exactly which electrical system you have. You either have a region cart or you have a series cart. If it's a series cart, then it's no doubt about it, it's going to be in your forward and reverse mechanism, because that's where you switch from forward to reverse. That's the device that's responsible for doing that. If you have a run toe switch under your seat on your cart, it's a little different. It still could be your push button switch for your, still could be that, but it's less likely that it's that, because I've hardly ever tried to change one of those. Because your controller is responsible in that electrical system for switching the car from forward motion to reverse motion. So it just depends on which electrical system, but it could be your switch for sure. And yes, we carry those at Golf Cart Garage for no matter which one it is. We can hook you up with what you need. Let's see. Just checking Facebook and YouTube and stuff. Let's see. William Rizzo on YouTube. What's up, William Rizzo? Hello from the Florida Keys. Awesome. I actually got married in the Florida Keys. It's a beautiful place. Karina Gonzalez. Hi, Tim. What's up, Karina? Is it recommended to upgrade the rear springs, but what about the front springs? Well, if the only reason that you would need to upgrade the rear springs would be if you were planning on adding a 4-passenger kit, or if your car was leaning a whole lot to one side, which, believe it or not, does happen as cars age, because a lot of times golf cars, they tend to ride around with one person on the cart, and so there's more weight on one side than the other. So over the years, if you'll look at the rear of a lot of older golf cars, they'll be leaning to the driver's side. So yeah, if that's the case, then yeah, you can update the rear springs. It'd have to be a really specific situation that you would need to upgrade the front springs. The front springs, they don't really take near as much abuse as the rear. Let's see. Okay, let's see. I replaced the wheels and tires on my 2000 Club Car Precedent with 12-inch wheels and tires, and the front ones rub on occasion when turning and going off curb. Well, how tall a tire did you go? Because I mean, stock tire height is 18. The rim height doesn't really matter as much as the tire height, as far as rubbing goes. And you might need to get a spacer or something. You can get wheel spacers that might help you with that too, with that rubbing issue. If you need to space out your wheel, I mean, if spacing out would hurt. If spacing out's not going to hurt, then you might need to figure out a way to go with a shorter tire. Let's see. This is probably a rhetorical question, but we'll be replacing the front springs. Cure the problem. The front springs appear weak. Oh, I see what you're saying. You have a suspicion that your front springs are already sagging. Now, if that is the case, then yes, it might not solve the problem, but it could help the problem. So yeah, that's a good way to look at it, because if your front springs are worn, then your car is going to be sitting a little lower than it normally does. If you replace your front springs, it's going to raise it a little bit. And we're not talking about a lot, probably. We might be talking about 1 inch or so. But yeah, that would be a good way to try to solve your issue. Let's see. Ted Rainville II. What's up, Ted Rainville II? He says, hello, sir. I have a 2016 Yamaha Trojan batteries. I installed the Navitas 4 kW AC system. I did not replace my wires or my solenoid. Should I replace my wires and solenoid? I think I know the answer to that. Also, on my Navitas app, my battery is only show 50%. Is that a problem with the app, or is that capacity of my batteries? Ted, let's go to your first question. All right, I can tell you this. Navitas themselves, anytime you install their AC system, or anytime you even buy one of their controllers, they recommend replacing your solenoid. They don't say that it's 100% necessary, but they recommend replacing your solenoid to a heavy-duty solenoid. So in other words, you could try it without doing it and see what you get, and if everything works fine, you might not have to. But just to be safe, I know Navitas does recommend it. Alltrax recommends that too. When you buy one of their bigger controllers, they recommend you replacing the solenoid. Now it says also my Navitas app shows my battery is only 50%. Is that a problem with the app or is that capacity of my batteries? Well, I'd have to ask you some specific questions about voltages and your charging, your own charge voltage, you know, and are you having, what kind of range you're getting out of your car? That could all be, I mean, that could be true, 50%. If you know the Navitas app is coming up with that percentage based on what voltage it's reading in your battery pack. So it very well could be your batteries. Let's see. Oh yeah, William Rizzo says they also have a front spring spacer for a club car. Now I think what you were, yeah, you're exactly right, William Rizzo. Appreciate that info to reminding me about that. So back up there to the question about the 2007 Precedent with 12-inch wheels and tires and the front rubs on occasion. There is a spacer for the front spring on a club car. So you could try that. It's like a 1-inch spacer or something like that. Let's see. Go back to my regular questions. This will be number 4 is where I'm at. I have a 2004 Club Car DS. My brakes started to squeak. How do I know which to get? Well, just because they started to squeak, I wouldn't necessarily run out and think you automatically need to get new brake shoes. It could just be a little rust or a little dust. You know, take them apart first. But when you do eventually get them apart, if you do decide that you need new brakes, you just need to go to golfcartgarage.com and look at part number. You can plug this part number into the search bar and it'll take you straight to them. BRK-017. That's the part number you plug in. That's 4 shoes, 4 brake shoes. That's 2 for each side. All right, let's see. Number 5. How can I open the 48-volt fuse holder to replace fuse on a 2002 Club Car DS? Well, depends on what fuse holder you're talking about. Now, if your car has a run toe switch and there's a yellow fuse holder, well, you just crack that open with your hand, just pulls apart, and there's a little fuse inside there. Now, if you're talking about the big fuse on the backside of the charging receptacle, you don't open it up. You replace the whole thing. You replace that whole assembly there. So just look up fuse assembly. Plug fuse assembly into the search bar at Golf Cart Garage, and you'll see what I'm talking about. All right, we'll do number 6. Tim Rainville says, thank you, Tim. I appreciate you. Appreciate you participating in the chat. And if y'all, and by the way, if you like this content, click comment, like, and subscribe if you like this content. Let's see here. Karina Gonzalez, thank you. You're the best. You're the best, Karina. Let's see. Number 7. Yeah, number 7 is where I'm at. This is from Jim. It says, hi Tim. I have a 2017 golf car, hard time going up hills, put meter on batteries, push pedal down from 48 volts to 42. Any help would be appreciated. It was number 7. Well, I would be curious to know if that from 48 to 42 drop, that what you just monitored is a voltage drop. Now, a voltage drop can be responsible for you losing power going up a hill. Some voltage drop is normal, and it depends on the size of the hill. It depends on the steepness of the hill, how much of a strain you're putting on the golf cart. So what I'd like to know is, you did the whole pack. That was your voltage drop from your whole pack voltage, 48 volts down to 42. I'd like for you to do each battery individually and see if you find one of those that's responsible for the biggest part of that voltage drop. And that may be your culprit right there. You might have a battery that's dropping down way more than the other 5, or if you got 4 batteries than the other 3. So do them individually. Like what you do is you get I may have said this before, get some alligator clip leads for your voltmeter. They got little clips on the end, so you can clip them to your battery, and then you can bring your voltmeter up in the seat with you, and then you can watch your voltage as you hit that hill. And you can do that 6 times if you got 6 batteries. You can do that test 4 times if you got 4 batteries. Go to each one of your batteries and watch for one. What you're looking for is one that's dropping out way worse than the others. Let's see. Number 8 is from Jeff. 1996 DS. The batteries are fully charged, but the wheels barely move when pressing the accelerator pedal. All right, there's a 96. That's not a good year for potentiometers. 96 club car had a type of potentiometer in it that didn't last very long, and it's not even available anymore. I'm not saying that is your problem. I'm just saying that that's with a 96, that's most likely what your problem is. You have a type of potentiometer. It's called a multi-step potentiometer or something like that, I believe. But they're prone to the signal goes all over the place, and you end up getting weird signals sent to the controller, which sends weird signals to the motor, and you get weird output. So they didn't use it for very long until they switched back. They actually went back to V-Glide, and then they ended up going with M-Core after that. So what you have to do with everybody, you're not the only one. There's a bunch of 90s, 95s, 6s, and 7s that have this type in there. What you end up having to get, you have to get this thing called a pre-M-Core to M-Core conversion kit. It's a pretty expensive kit. It's like $400, $500. But it comes with everything you need to convert. Everything just plugs in, into your wiring harness. It comes with everything you need to convert your car over to an M-Core. Right now, the last time I checked, which was like yesterday, it was still out of stock. But you could call Golf Cart Garage and talk to one of our amazing customer service representatives that we have, and they may know a little bit more information about when that may become back in stock. They know more about that kind of stuff than I do. So you could check with one of them and see if they have any new info when that might be put back in stock. Let's see. Check over here on Facebook. We've got Mark Wally. What's up, Mark Wally? Good to have you. Appreciate you. Which is better, gas cart or battery? That is a very good question, and my answer may be surprising to a lot of people. I may make a lot of enemies, but here's the deal. A lot of people are under the impression all this time, and let's take lithium out of the equation. Okay, all this time up until recently, electric cars were lead-acid batteries. And now you can get lithium, and you don't have to worry about anything there once you have lithium. But when all these years, these past years, when everything was lead acid, people were under the impression, oh, it's an electric car. All I have to do to maintain it, I just plug it in, and then it's good to go. And it's not really true. You need to know. You need to be a little bit more on top of your battery situation at all times on an electric car. They do require some thought. They do require some maintenance, not much, but they do require some. And the maintenance that they require is important. Not overfilling your batteries, not underfilling your batteries, making sure your water level is correct, checking on that regularly, making sure you stay fully charged so your batteries don't go down too low, because batteries have a discharge rate just sitting there. So if your golf cart is sitting there, even if it's not being used, your batteries are slightly discharging. Not a lot, but they're slightly discharging just sitting there. They like to be fully charged at all times. They'll last longer, you'll get better luck out of it. So electric cars are not near as maintenance free as a lot of my customers over the years have actually anticipated that they would be. Now, let's switch over to gas cars. Gas cars, you still have the regular maintenance of a gas car. You need to change your oil. You're going to have to change oil, air filter, fuel filter, spark plug. You're going to have to do that. But I can tell you this, on a gas car, if you do that, let's say once a year, you change your oil, you change your spark plug, you change your air filter, you change your fuel filter or fuel filters, you're not going to have to do anything for the rest of the year. And you can let a gas car sit there for a while and neglect it. You don't have to worry about your batteries going, the discharging. A gas car charges up the battery once it gets cranked. Once you crank it up, it charges up the battery just like your automobile. So It depends on your application and what is allowed in your application. Batteries are really expensive. So if your application that you're going to use your golf cart for allows for gas and you don't mind the slightly louder noise, I would go with gas for less, for not worrying about it as much. You get a good gas car, you'll never regret it. Now, if you want to go lithium, that takes some of those battery issues that I was talking about earlier as out of the equation. So if you go ahead and get a car and switch to lithium, then that takes all those battery maintenance stuff out of the equation. So they're more on an equal scale there. So it just depends. But there are some places, like some neighborhoods and some golf course communities, that don't allow gas. So you have to go with electric. But my customers over the years, if they allowed gas, they would go with gas, and they all seem very happy with it. So I don't know if that answered your question or not. That was a long answer to a very short question. So I hope you understood what I'm getting at there. Let's see. I'm on number 9 is where I'm at. Number 9 is from Jason. 2018 Club Car Precedent. Intermittent acceleration, trouble that causes lack of power at full throttle. Holding the pedal at 85% with this issue happening. It drives. I've replaced the M-Core with a club car replacement part. I've also replaced the speed sensor, and this intermittent issue continues. I have 8 volts at each battery. I remember speaking with Jason about this issue this past week, and although he says he replaced his M-Core with a club car replacement part, turns out the M-Core that he replaced, that he was using, was some very inexpensive M-Core from Amazon and eBay. And I take calls all week long, so I listen to customers' feedback on lots of different parts that they bought from us and where they bought from other people or other places. So I get feedback on lots of stuff from customers on lots of different providers of parts. And I have not heard very good things about those really inexpensive M-Cores on Amazon and eBay. So my advice to him was to try again with another M-Core, because his symptoms that he's describing, where the cart would actually run fine at 3/4 throttle, but if he goes all the way to the floor, it would shut down. Well, that's a classic sign of an over signal being sent to the controller. So my advice would have been to either get your M-Core tested, because his particular car, you could go to a club car dealer and they could have plugged in their computer and they could have tested his M-Core from it would show 0 to 100%. It's 0 with throttle up and 100% with throttle down. And it would show 150% or something if it was going over signal. So they could figure that out real quick by testing his M-Core. So he was going to do one of two things. He was either going to do that, go to a club car dealer and have them test it with their computer, or he was going to just get an M-Core from some other location, hopefully Golf Cart Garage. Let's see what else. Craig 35, what's up, Craig? Hey Gearhead, thanks for doing these videos, love them. Well, thank you, Craig, you're awesome. William Rizzo, most golf carts in the Villages, Florida are gas, probably 50 miles of cart pass. Well, that's cool. If there was 50 miles of cart pass, you pretty much would I would have to either have a gas, or I'd have to have a lithium with a big amp hour rating on it, because that would be awesome. Let's see, number 10. This is the last regular scheduled question. How can I raise the 12-volt golf cart voltage reducer 16 to 18 to 12, 15 amp to 13.8? I've heard that most 12-volt stuff runs best at 13.8. I understand what you're saying. You're thinking, because of the description of voltage reducers, that it actually reduces the voltage down to 12.0. Well, I think that you will find that's not exactly true. It's going to reduce the voltage down to, it's misleading how they word them, and they say they reduce it to 12 volts, because you're correct. There's very, very few things that run absolutely perfect on 12.0 volts. So I think that if you would measure the actual voltage that's coming out of a 12 volt of a voltage reducer that says it reduces down to 12, I think if you would actually measure that voltage that's coming out, it's going to be more closer to 13.8, like what you're talking about. So I'm just saying, don't just assume that it reduces all the way down to 12 until you actually measure it. Let's see. I think that's going to be about it. I believe that's about it. I'll check on the YouTube and Facebook one more time before we get out of here. Okay, we're starting to do a tip every live session. We do a golf cart tip. All right, today's tip. The tip is this is about an electric car. Anytime that you're going to do any type of work on your electric car, in the battery compartment, under the seat I'm talking about. Well, even under the golf cart would be a good idea. Anytime, let's rephrase that. Anytime you're going to do any type of work on your golf cart, like if you're going to replace a solenoid, if you're going to replace a controller, if you're going to work on the underneath of the cart, I would recommend taking one battery cable completely off. Just removing one battery cable. You got 5 cables that connect all your batteries together, or a little less than that if you have a 412 volt system. But anyway, it doesn't matter which battery cable. Just take one battery cable completely off, and what you just did is that you removed the circuit. Lots of bad things can happen when you start taking wires off and putting wires back together. If your golf cart has a run tow switch, put it into tow first too, but remove one battery cable before doing any work on your golf cart. That could help you out there. All right, let me see. I think that might conclude episode 64. Let's make sure here. Yep, that looks like it's going to do it. I will be back on Tuesday for episode 65. I'll see everybody Tuesday. Thank you for coming. Thank you for all the people that participated in the chat. Remember, if you like this content, to comment, like, and subscribe. Craig says, nice tip. Thank you, Craig. And remember, click the link in the description if you're interested in talking to me one-on-one about your golf cart related issue. See y'all Tuesday. Garage is now closed.